والاستفادة والحث على التمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم، ودعاء إلى الهدى ودلالة على الخير، ابتغاء وجه الله ومرضاته وقربه وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى، مع لطف وعافية برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علما لدني ومشرب صافي الهاني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم ألهمنا علما نفقه به أوامرك ونواهيك، وارزقنا فهما نعرف به كيف نناجيك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك فهم النبيين وحفظ المرسلين وإلهام الملائكة المقربين في عافية يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أغننا بالعلم وزينا بالحلم وأكرمنا بالتقوى وجملنا بالعافية يا أرحم الراحمين. آمين. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم إنا نستودعك ما قرأناه وما نقرأه في هذا المجلس وما قبله وما بعده، فاحفظه علينا حتى فاحفظه علينا حتى ترده إلينا وقت احتياجنا إليه يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أكرمنا بنور الفهم وأخرجنا من ظلمات الوهم، وافتح لنا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا حكمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. آمين. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم يا من مقاليد الأمور كلها بيده وإليه يرجع الأمر كله، يا فتاح يا عليم، يا فتاح يا عليم، يا فتاح يا عليم، افتح علينا فتحا قريبا. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي، وسدد لساني واهدي قلبي، وافعل كذلك بأحبابي أبدا، وارزقنا كمال فتوح العارفين والفقه في الدين مع كمال الإخلاص الصدق واليقين والعافية والغنى والنصر والحفظ والنفع والانتفاع وخير الدارين وعلوم الأولين والآخرين. آمين. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم، والحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. آمين آمين يا رب العالمين. الحمد لله، الحمد لله، الحمد لله، الحمد لله. Okay, Bismillah. We're continuing with our book Safinatunnajah and the ship of salvation. Today's fiqh. Right, so inshallah we will trying to look for where is my playlist with regards to the coming of age. Do you all see the playlist? Yeah, is there a playlist for the coming of age? There is, right? I remember I did about 2 years ago. Playlist from the coming of age. Okay, it's okay. I know I have it somewhere, but now I can't. I think it's under. Hmm. No, I can't find it. I wanted to point to it, but now I can't find it in my playlist. Hmm. Okay, خلاص. I'm going to search later on. Where is the, unless I can't find playlist that I know that is there, but I don't know how to find it in my own YouTube. Because I'm just looking at not making sense of menses. Is it under making sense of menses? Is it this one? Ibana or Father? No, it's not this one. Sila. Oh yeah, it is. It is. Tamam. Okay. Let me just share this first. Okay. So anyway, I wanted to point out to this first because it is part of today's lesson, on the science of puberty. Right, so we have come into the fiqh side of the tahara, right? Tahara. Right, and the first thing that the Shaykh mentions are the signs of puberty, right? And I think last week we were here, is it? Are we were here? Okay, okay, tamam. Right, so basically, I think last week I spoke a bit about puberty, and I think and I went to a few matters last week, right? So the signs of puberty, I want to speak more about it before we go into the conditions for using the hajar, the stone. He goes right into it, right? But so Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I'll explain this first. I want to show what I want to show. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال المؤلف رحمه الله تعالى ونفعنا الله به وبعلومه في الدارين إلى أن قال. Right, so فصل علامات البلوغ ثلاث. Right, the signs of puberty are three. Right, الحبيب أحمد الحداد, he actually adds on one more. He puts on a fourth sign of puberty, and he will discuss it inshallah in a while. Right, so he says here in this book, he says there are three signs of puberty. الأول, the first one, تمام 15 سنة من ذكر والأنثى. Right, so reaching the age of 15 lunar years. Right, so we need to really highlight this. How do I highlight this? Right, we need to really highlight this. Um, that the word here is Luna, right? Please, Luna. Right, so we need to ensure that you know the Hijri birthday of your children, right? No, record down when they are born, like record down the Hijri birthday. And in fact, every year you should commemorate the Hijri birthday so that they are aware that their real age, that the age that we're looking at in Islam is the Hijri age, right? Not the Gregorian age. We're so obsessed about Gregorian age, right? The Gregorian calendar, right? They were not looking at our Hijri calendar, right? But right, we are the rulings, they all revolve around the Hijri calendar, Hijri. All right, and I'm going to mention a few things in a while to show that the importance of this. And I hope to make a short clip about this because parents are unaware of their children coming into puberty. Right, they're unaware, especially number two, right, about your number two, especially number three, number two and number three, right, of parents not preparing your child. Your child is already 9 years old or coming to 9 years old, and she's clueless as to what is menstruation, or your son has gone past 9 years old. Don't think it can't happen to your son. I know of a boy by 10 years old, he got his wet dream. And alhamdulillah, he was prepared. He knew what was a wet dream, and he had reached, puberty. And it's important because now he's a man. He's counted to be a man in Islam, right? And everything, and therefore he's completely legally responsible, right, in Islam. And he cannot just hang around, women and girls any old how, because now he's a man. You need to inform the women who are coming into his presence that this boy has reached puberty. And so they cover up themselves properly. And that is also why, inshallah, I'll speak about the entire concept of the kabir, a child who is kabir, not baligh, but kabir. They're big boys and big girls, and how many women are so lax with regards to your aura around these boys who are 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old. They might not be baligh, but they are big boys, right? They're big boys. They're not toddlers, they're not kindergarteners, they're big boys, right? And many women they're not careful with their aura, around these boys. And especially, if this child is not telling people if they have reached puberty, or they themselves don't even know that they have reached puberty because they are not prepared for it, because the guardians or the parents who are involved have not prepared them, what is puberty. And the sin falls on the parents, right? The sin falls on the parents that you did not prepare a child on the signs of puberty by 9 years old. By nine. All right, this has to be done. Okay, I'm just going to read the first part first because I want to discuss a lot on these two things. Um, because I've heard too many cases, of girls coming into puberty and they have no clue they've come into puberty because the parents, especially the mother, never spoke to them about it, right? And they're already 9, right? It can happen to anybody. Don't think it won't happen to your child. Right? It might happen to your child. I don't think that, oh, okay, I came into puberty at 14 years old. My child will come into puberty around there. No, the world has changed. The food that they eat is different, right? And food affects us very much. And also what they're exposed to, right? What they're exposed to can also make the body mature faster. So you can't just say, oh, my child later on they come into puberty, or 9 is too young. No, 9 is the the law is 9. The law is 9. Now go into inshallah. Right, so the first condition or the first sign of puberty, right, is so it's either one of these three. There's a fourth one I'll mention it. Right, reaching the age of 15 lunar years, right, for a male or a female. This is like the last case scenario. Right? If the other two or three have not happened until the age of 15, right? So if a child comes into the age of 15, and they have not, like for a girl, she has not experienced menstruation at all, right? By the age of 15, for a boy, he has not experienced, for a boy and girl, they can both experience wet dream, right? So a girl can come into puberty not via menstruation, but through a wet dream. It's possible, right? Because it's right there in the film, right? Right. So it's possible. So if a child does not come, does not experience number two and number three, there is number four. I mean, write it down just here. Okay, number four is what Habib. Allahumma salli wa sallim barik alayhi wa ala alihi, what Habib Ahmed al Haddad mentioned. But I also explained, why number four is there. Number four, he mentioned, right, the of one hair growth. Uh, hair growth, uh right, hair growth after the age of 9. Okay, so by the age of 9, hair growth, right? So, and this is mentioned because sometimes children miss the wet dream, right? Or they don't take it, they don't want to talk about it, don't want to tell anyone about it. So what happens after this wet dream is that hair begins to grow, right? Hair begins to grow for this person, right? So hair growth, of course, what we're referring to is hair growth under the armpits, right? Hair growth in the pubic region, right? And okay, for boys, usually on the face, it comes a bit later on, right? You might, and sometimes the hair on the face comes before the age of 9, right? So Habib Ahmed Al Haddad, he actually mentions this. He mentions Mashur. He mentions hair growth at the age of 9. Right? It is basically an indication that number two happened. That number two happened, but it was in a sense not. It was missed, or the child didn't say anything to anybody, too embarrassed to say anything to anybody, right? Which is a major situation, or is a problem, because now these children, they have to bathe, right? They have to do their ghusl, right? They have to do their major bath, and they have to and their prayers are all counted, right? So if a child goes along and not tell anybody that they have reached puberty because they're too embarrassed to say they have reached puberty, they are in major hadass the entire time. It's a big problem, okay? they're in major hadass, right? And they're praying and everything, and it's all not counted because they've not done their bath, because no one educated them on the seriousness of the matter. Okay, right? So number two is experiencing a wet dream by a 9-year-old boy or girl by 9 Hijri. 9 Okay, right. So please be aware. What month was your child? Let me do both. How to do girl as well. Right, by a boy or girl. Pay attention, girl as well. Which means, which means before they reach their 9th birthday, right? Hijri. Okay, Hijri. So for example, if your child, was born on the first of Rabiul Awal, all right? If your child was born on the first of Rabiul Awal, at latest, when they are 8 years old and 11 months. All right, because this small, I think the small two over there, right? I don't go into the footnotes. This is 9 years old, taqribiyah, Maria taqribiyah, which means it is, let me write it down. It is right anywhere. How do I undo this? Okay, which means it is anywhere past 11, sorry, 8 years upon 8 years, right? 11.5 months. Okay, if a girl, right, were to see the signs of menstruation, and what are the signs of menstruation? Oh, mothers, please know, right? What are the signs of menstruation? It is not outright blood. It could possibly be brown discharge, right? I've had mothers come to me and say to me, I think my child's going to reach puberty soon. I've seen, brown discharge on their underwear. And I said to them, they have reached puberty, as long as they are experiencing brown discharge and it's more than 24 hours. What are the signs of menstruation? Right? What is menstruation? I mean, what are the colors of menstruation? Right? You got to know this, right? So I wanted to show this. If any of you need help, to speak to your children. Like I have done this for puberty, I think we need to do it for the boys. Right? But men, I think I need to get an ustad, get my husband to do it. Right? An ustad to do it. Right? An ustad to speak about it, and put it out there to help parents speak about it. Right? But I know that if, like for example, I think I did this in 2 lessons, right? And this is basically done in Singapore, I think every June. Samaria does it. We began doing it a few years ago when I was in Singapore, right? And then Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik alayhi wa alayhi. Also, Sister Marja, she continued doing it, right? So it is that if you go to the Wheel of Islam book that I wrote, there is in primary four there's a chapter on puberty, right? So and so I opened up the chapter on puberty. Sorry, my Zoom was it's blocking the entire thing. The whole time my Zoom was blocking the entire thing. Okay, but basically in the Will of Islam book, there's a chapter on puberty where Zaid speaks to his father, and then Zainab also speaks to her mother later on, right? So the father explains, to Zaid what is puberty, and this opens up conversation between you and your child. If you find it very awkward, how do I speak about it, right? So the story opens up, with her, speaking about it, and she's saying she's not so sure what's happening. She's feeling all these pains, and then she's seeing, blood coming out of her. Actually, there is an example of. I mean, so there is conversation here in the book about puberty. I want to go a bit down, is the part about. So in this booklet, right, that we produce, right, for the girls, right, there is a full. I mean, it's basically all they need to know about puberty, and the most important part is not in this episode. Okay, let me go to the next episode. How do I go back? Okay, this one. I think it's probably here. Okay, right. Where is this one? Is number one, number two? No, no. Okay, my internet is a bit slow. So basically, the biology of it is being explained. You can see on this part, right? And then if you go further down, right, you can use this. It's on my YouTube. You just write down my YouTube and use it. Here, this one, colors of menses. Please look at this. Right, the conditions of menses, colors of menses. What is menses? People are unaware, right, that menses does not have to be a full blood flow. It doesn't have to be a full blood flow. The moment you see, right, some brown discharge, that is the beginning of your menses, right? For as long as you, as an adult woman, that you have had 15 days of clean days of prayer, right? Full 15 days time, by the minute. That means 24 hours times 15, of prayer. If you have finished that full 15 days, so don't count the days by 12 midnight. No, right? But count the days by when you bathe, right? From your previous menses, and count from that hour. From that hour. And my internet is really very slow right now. I hope you all can hear me because it's just going around and around and around. I hope you all can see what I'm showing as well. But I hope you all can see the blur colors here. It's not loading. It's just very, very weak internet today. Well, alhamdulillah, right? So like, because I know of women themselves, they don't know that these are the colors of menses, and so they're experiencing all these things, and they're still praying, they're still fasting. Like, no, if you have finished 15 days of of purity, of prayer, 15 days to the hour, okay, to the hour. or to the minute. You can, however you want to be, accurate on it, right? But basically, 15 days of prayer, right? And you see any of these colors emerging. These are the colors of menses, even if they're just brown discharge. And people like to say, "Oh, it's just spotting." No, it's menses. It's not just spotting, it's menses, okay? And then even worse, if your child begins to experience these things and she's 9 or she's 8 and 11 months and a half, okay? Because you can start from there. Right, basically the age for menstruation, right? And it's actually in this booklet. Inshallah, in June there should be another run, of this. And you can always there is a Google Drive that you can just download the booklet and just print it out if you want to make it easy for your child, right? Basically it states here, right, from 11 years old, right? Sorry, from 8 years old, 11 months and 15 days, right? So 11 months and 15 days. Anytime after that, if your child were to see any of these colors coming out of her, right, in her discharge, right, and these colors are continuous for more than 24 hours. There are two conditions: colored discharge of any of these colors, right? And they are continuous. This discharge is continuous for a minimum uh for let me just pause this. Okay, right. Now you see it, right? And this discharge is continuous, right, for 24 hours. For 24 hours, right? So I put it very clearly here, very, very clearly. It does not have to start with a full flow of blood because too many women are ignorant of this. Too many women, mothers, ignorant of this, and you see that your child, right, is having, brown discharge on their underwear, and they are 9 already, right, by the Hijri calendar, right, and still, not even aware the child has come into menses, right? Or there's a probability the child has come into menses because it depends on the 24 hours thing, right? There has to be a 24-hour flow, right, for it to be menses. And you need to speak to your children before it happens, not after it happens. Of course, it already happens, and now talk to your children, right? Like before it happens, before. Right? It's such an urgent, situation because I know of too many children, right, whereby the mothers were unaware that the child has reached menses, and therefore when the discharge stopped, after a few days, which means more than 24 hours already, right? After a few days, the discharge stopped because at the beginning of menstruation, it could possibly be that the body is still getting into it, and it could possibly be there was no full blood flow. Right? Possible. I remember when I first came to menses, the first time I got my cycle, it was very short. It was very short. There was hardly any blood flow, and then it disappeared for about 10 months, and then it came back, right? And then so for 10 months, I was kind of confused. I was like, am I have I puberty or not? Right? For 10 months, it come back. Then it came back, right? And then it was a full blood flow, and it came every month, and it was regular and so on. It can happen that because your body's adjusting. The body's adjusting, right? But the first time it appeared as a random brown discharge that was discontinuous for 3 days, for 4 days, that counts. Right? The puberty happened then. Even though there was this huge gap of 10 months for myself, like it happened to me. I remember I was so confused. Am I on menses or not? And then the whole 10 months, I know of a person, one of my friends here in Tarin, like she said to me that she saw the brown discharge, first, when she was 12 years old, somewhere in January. She saw it, right? But she didn't tell anybody about it. She didn't tell anybody about it. She saw, oh, brown discharge. She dismissed it. It's not menses, right? And she remember she saw it for a few days. It was flowing for a few days. It never came out as blood thereafter, right? So then she kind of dismissed it. Okay. Then after a year, right, then she had a full cycle with blood and everything and so on, right? 7 days full, and then she bathed from there. So now, as an adult, right, she thought back to her beginning of her menses, right? She realized the first time she saw that brown discharge, she was too embarrassed to tell anybody, like, about it, first and foremost. Secondly, she did not bathe from it. She did not do a ghusl. I didn't do a compulsory bath from that, right? So for a full year, She was praying in major hadath for a full year, and the prayer was already compulsory on her, right? So now in her adulthood, she was making up those prayers. She had to qada. I do a qada of all those, that one whole year of prayers where she prayed her prayers in hadath, and this was somebody who actually prayed her prayers. How many of our children at 9 years old are very complacent, not praying properly? And they're nine, they're not praying properly, they're being lazy about their prayers, and no one is reminding them about their prayers. Right? And what if they have reached puberty already? Khalas, they have it's major sin. It's a major sin to miss your prayers. Major. They go to school, they come back, and then the aura, they're not covering the aura, and they're walking around, and they've already reached puberty. Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. Come on. All right. So this is like, being very firm on this. Because too many mothers have spoken to me about this, and they were clueless that their child had reached puberty. Right. So how do we speak to them about the wet dream? Okay, speak to them. You have to. It's wajib. Okay, right. We have to speak to them about the wet dream. Right. So basically, if you don't want to go into details, because sometimes it can lead to a curiosity. It depends on how sheltered your child is, right? If your child's going to school, they're going to be hearing about this already anyway. It's in their sexual education, it's in their science. It's their friends talk about it. All right, especially for boys, right? So, but if your child is, very much sheltered, then my nephew is very sheltered. He doesn't know anything, about these things. He's already 12, right? But we do speak to him also, right? So what you did say is that, that the sign of puberty, this happens at what age? 8 years old and 11 months, um, at maximum. All right. That means you can do it earlier, do it earlier. All right, if you can do it earlier, do it earlier. Like the course, the coming of age, we actually open up to girls from the age of 8. Right, from the age of 8, they are allowed to come for that course, right, to understand it, right, to understand it. Allahumma salli wa sallim barik alayhi wa ala alihi. Right, and you can always, play it for them online and sit with them. Don't just play and let them watch and you go and do your own thing. No, you mother sit with them, right, and go through it with them, and explain certain matters to them. All right, it's your responsibility, and you'll be questioned about it on the day of judgment. Um, right, so basically, how do you explain the wet dream to them? You just say to them at the age of 8 years old plus, okay, before they hit nine, all right, 8 years old plus, right? You sit them down and say that you are in the age. You can open up the Will of Islam book, primary four, right? The answer, the story is there. If you need to trigger off the conversation, right? Story is right there, right? So you say that, okay, now you're at the age of nine, or you're coming to the age of nine, right? And in Islam, at any point, you can reach puberty right now. Okay, you can reach puberty right now. So how do you know that you reach puberty? Right? There are two signs, there are two main signs. There's a fourth one that will confirm it. All right. But there are two main signs. Okay. So for the boys, tell them that you will get a dream. And this dream, you will be too embarrassed to tell anybody about this dream. All right. So it's an embarrassing, it's an embarrassing dream. Right? You feel very, very embarrassed about it. Right? But when you wake up in the morning, right, you will find some wetness, right, from your privates. Okay. Say to them. Say to them. Okay. When this happens, you need to tell me about it. All right, you need to tell me about this, right? Because straight away you must take a major bath. Then you need to teach them what is the major bath. It's also in the course, the coming of age, right? How to do the major bath. Like, and the difference between the major hadath, the bath to remove major hadath, right? The biggest difference is that they have to intend. They must have the niyyah, the intention, right? So you need to do a full bath of your whole body before you wet yourself. At the points where the first drop of the water touches your body, like you say, you intend. I intend to remove major hadath. Okay, I intend to remove major hadath. All right, and then wash your entire body and show them. Wash your entire body, right, from head to toe. You can show them the entire sunnah if you want to, but if you don't want to, get them confused, then show them the wajib first. Right, the full wajib is the whole body must be washed, right? Make sure you squat, right, so that all of the folds in your private region, the water goes into, the water must go into your belly button, right? The water must go under your armpit, behind your knees, right? All behind your ears, right? And the folds behind your neck, right? You need to explain to them the entire full major bath. Right? The intention happens when the first water hits your body. Okay, that's when you say, I intend to remove major hadath. All right. And then after that, right, perform your wudu, right, and go and perform your prayers. And of course, if you have more time, right, you can actually sit them down and write down the steps, right, to the sunnah way of performing the major bath. Right, the sunnah way is first and foremost to do your istinja, right, and then you wash yourself, around your private region, and you say, Ya Allah, I intend to remove major hadath from this region, right, and you make sure you thoroughly wash the private region, the front, the back, in between, the flesh, everywhere around, right? Then stand up, right? Perform the wudu. I perform wudu first, right? And then wash the areas where there are folds and there are like you say, concave parts of the body, like behind the knees, under the armpits, there are concave parts where water might not run through naturally, but you have to ensure the water goes there, right? Behind the ears. Behind the ears counts when you do wudu, when you do wudu, it goes there anyway, right? In the belly button and so on, and then stand up, take the shower, wash from the top of your head, right? First from the top of your head down, right, and then on the right side of your body, right, and then on the left side of your the left side of your body, front and front, right, and then the back right, and then the back left, right, and that is the full sunnah way of doing the major bath. Right. Someone just asked me previously, I think last week, she was asking me, she wanted to know, alhamdulillah, at this age, and as an adult, she wants to relearn how to do major bath, right? And the whole time she's been doing the intention after the bath. And I said to her, no, intention happens before the bath, before, or at the point, it's not before, it happens at the point when you begin the bath. All this while, no one told her that the intention happens at the point when you begin the bath, right? Not after the bath. All right. And it's regardless of and the bath, there's no condition of you using soap or shampoo. You don't have to use soap or shampoo. Right. In fact, it has to be pure water. Right. Then thereafter, if you want to soap yourself up and shampoo yourself, do it, go ahead. Right. But let the bath be right the first washing. Before any soap or shampooing happens. That first washing, that's the bath. All right. So do a full one, right? And then if they want to do, soap and shampoo and then rinse it off, it's up to them, right? But explain this to them, what is the wet dream and how it happens. Okay. Right. You can explain to them also that you might feel something in your privates. You might feel like there's something that happened in your privates, right? There was a dream that you felt something, right? And there is wetness. All right. Explain to them. You need to use it's your responsibility. Right, for the girl, right, by age of 8 years old and 11 months, right, sit her down and explain to her, right, that, from her privates, right, there could be these colors, and show the colors I just showed you all, on that diagram, that these colors could be coming out of your privates, right? And any point from now on, it can come out, right? So you need to, when this thing happens, you need to tell me, right? You tell me, and then I will guide you through it, right? So we need to stop prayer, right? When it happens, stop praying, right? Because you're in your menstruation. It's possible you're in your menstruation, possible because you need to ensure that it goes beyond 24 hours, right? So if it stops before 24 hours, right, of flow, or the flow was just little bit, then it stopped. Then it's not found. It's not menses. It is just, it's just blood of illness. It's got dam fasad, right? It's blood of illness. Or if this bleeding happened before 8 years, 11 months, 11 and a half months. If it happened when she was 8 years old exactly, or 7 years old, it's not counted. It has to be 8 years old, 11 and a half months onwards. All right. So it's basically 15 days before her ninth birthday, you can start. All right. So if it happens for more than 24 hours, right, then you be clear to her, you're on your menses right now. This counts as menses. You have reached puberty. Well, alhamdulillah, welcome to adulthood, and welcome to being responsible for all your actions. Everything is written down for you right now, right? And then get her to know when tuhur happens, right? What color? Right? So when how does she know when she's already clean? Because she has to perform the major bath. All right. And I teach her how to perform the major bath, how to clean herself, how to perform the major bath, right? And then emphasize on her, right, that now prayers are wajib. Please be serious about your prayers. There are too many children who are not serious. At 9 years old, they're not serious about their prayers. Right? It is on the parents to emphasize it on them. Okay. Right. So Alhamdulillah. I want to make this part of today's class into a short, right? Try to make it short. Because too many people are ignorant of this thing, and their child is already having their menses, already having brown discharge, maybe not blood but brown discharge, for more than 24 hours, and the child herself is clueless that this is a sign of menstruation. She's clueless, right? And the mother is clueless because maybe the helper helps wash the underwear or whatever. So the mother herself does not even see that this is appearing on her child's underwear. The mother is clueless, right? And then months go by, a year goes by, right? And your child is on a hadath the entire year. It's your responsibility, and you will bear the question under your judgment. The mother and the father, both, right? Because it's responsibility of the parents to educate your children. Now, right? So, you need to know, you need to know your Hijri birthday. If you don't know your Hijri birthday, I mean, if really no one recorded for you your birthday, there are apps nowadays that gives you a rough estimate. It's not an exact, right? Because Hijri moves back and forth by a day or 2 days, right? You actually have to alhamdulillah for my parents, they wrote down all of our Hijri birthdays, right? So and we were informed of our Hijri birthday since we were young, and my grandmother, may Allah have mercy on her soul, she used to give us, money if we came to her and told her it's our Hijri birthday. So it made us memorize our Hijri birthday. Right. So if like say like Nani, today is I was speaking to her in Malay lah. I said Nani, today is my Hijri birthday, right? Zukaida. And then she'd be like, oh, then out comes $10. So it used to make us, like track our Hijri birthday. Like because you get $10 extra, for saying to her. You can do that, like if anyone tells me that their Hijri birthday, and that so that they can, be clear about it. Right. So I just explain how you can identify them. You can teach them if they have experience with wet dream without going into details. Don't have to talk about sexual intercourse. You don't have to talk about, all these things. Just say it's a very, like embarrassing or shameful dream. There's a sign, okay? And you wake up, you feel something in your privates. Second sign. There's a feeling in the privates. Third sign that there is wetness. And it's not pee, okay? It's not urine, it's not sweat, is something else. It's another form of fluid. All right. So when you see this, you need to come and tell me. Okay, come and tell me. That means you have reached puberty and you need to do your major bath. Teach them the major bath anyway, because if let's say when it does happen, and let's say for a boy, right, he's too embarrassed to tell anybody about it. At least he knows in himself that he needs to do the major bath and emphasize on them that if you don't do the major bath, then now all your prayers, which are wajib on you right now, and you can be punished, like for not doing your prayers, like that your prayers will not be counted because you're on major hadath. Explain to them what is hadath. They're 9 years old, they can understand. All right, right. So if the brown discharge is intermittent and not continuous 24 hours, right, it is not considered as hate, right? It is hate. It is hate. It is, especially if it reaches, if it comes into blood flow. So the moment you see the brown discharge, right, is because the 24 hours is that it eventually will have altogether 24 hours of flow, right? For most people, the discharge happens is intermittent, but then there'll be the full blood flow, right? There'll be the full blood flow. Please go to my course. Come, all of you, okay? I show you all again, okay? Right, please come here. Right, let me just go back. This one is for children. This one for adults. Okay. Now that I close this. Okay. Right, please go here. Go to my name, Farna Munshi. Right, making sense of menses. Right, gonna make sense of it. And please go through. Right, from episode one. Please, please, please. Okay, please go through from episode one. Right, learn the laws of menstruation. A lot of women are unfortunately uneducated, right, about this, and they're doing it wrong for years. doing it wrong. They don't know they've come into puberty. Right? They don't know that the brown discharge is still menses. Some of them I know that during the course. I had so many stories, ya Allah, of people right after the blood, the blood has ended and it's brown discharge, they bathe. You're not done yet. You're not done. You got to wait until the white comes out. They bathe, which means for their entire life, they have not bathed from menses properly yet, which means you live your life in major hadath. You're living your life in major hadath. Your prayers all not counted. Ya Allah, Ya Allah. If you done Hajj and you did Hajj in that way, your tawaf was not counted. This is serious. It's a serious matter. No, the first brown discharge coming out, you know, you know what? Go to the course. Go to the course. It's all done. It's all spoken about. It's all explained. If you want to go through the adult one, the adult one begins with Ibana wal Ifada. Ibana wal Ifada is the book that I go through. If you don't want to go to the adult one, go to the children one. Okay, so it's clear to you because I go to the main things for the children. I don't go into the other issues, the more complicated issues that in istihada and so on. Right? But basically nowadays, whenever any woman comes to me with a question, I will answer that question because there's an urgency whether they have to bathe or not, right? But then I will show them this link, and I'll say to them, please follow the series. Please, please, please follow the series. Go through it. Understand your menstruation. And I know, Alhamdulillah, for many women, after having gone through it, things become very clear to them. Okay, I'm still gonna put it on you all. Right? It's all there. It's all done. It's all done. Right. Well, Alhamdulillah. Okay. Let me see the questions again. Right, so it's counted, it's menses, okay, menses, tamam. Right, so mungkin these are those first two colors from the left, right? So all of these questions, right, they were addressed in the course. All of these questions are menses, right? All of them, every single one of them addressed in the course. I addressed it. I differentiated. I even explained how do you tell the difference between yellow blood and yellow discharge. There's a difference, right, between yellow blood and yellow discharge. I went through the entire matter of discharge, like what discharge is najis, what discharge is not najis, what discharge breaks your wudu, what discharge does not break your wudu. I went through the entire thing and all the characteristics of it. It's in the course. It's in the course. Okay. So it's not okay when it's beige. It's not okay when it's beige. Like beige is definitely menses. Right? Your discharge should not be beige. Okay. Off-white. Off-white. They call it kudra. Like kudra. Right? But you need to know that it is blood, right? Not discharge. The situation here is not about colors. It is about, what it is. Is it discharge or is it blood? As you know, that blood there is the yellow part of blood. It's called the plasma, right? Blood is a suspension. You all know that, right? Blood is a suspension. It's not a solution. It's a suspension, right? Which means that the red blood cells, right, are suspended in the plasma, of the blood, right? So if blood were to stand, it will separate. Right? The red will separate from the plasma. The plasma is the yellow blood, right? And so at the end of menstruation, this is what you're seeing. You're not seeing discharge. You're seeing blood. It's blood, right? But it's yellow, because it's not the red blood cells, but it's the plasma is coming out. And you need to know the characteristics of it. Don't ask me all this now because it's all in the course. You've done it, right? You've all done it. Inshallah, I'll go into this when I come to chapter on menses, right? A bit more, right? But basically, very quickly, the blood, the main difference between blood and discharge is that blood smears. Okay, it smears over your panty liner, over your tissue. It smears. Discharge tends to have a thickness to it that you can pick it up. All right, you can actually pick it up. All right, that's the main difference. Okay, but high chances is still blood. Okay, now, right. So so again, differentiate between blood and blood and discharge. You need to differentiate between blood and discharge. So what you usually get on your non-menses days, that will give you an indication of what your discharge looks like by texture, not by color, by texture. All right, by texture. Tamam, right? By viscosity. Okay, by the viscosity of the fluid, you will know this is discharge, right? And then when the blood comes, oh yes, this one is blood. Okay, there's a difference. There is a very clear difference, and you have to be aware of this. All right. So for a boy, how would they know it's a wet dream? You need to tell them lah. Because girl also can get wet dream. It's not just the boys, okay? Girl also can get wet dream. Right? And if a girl does not get her menses but she got a wet dream, she's already in puberty. Right? So you need to tell them. Okay, you need to tell them that there has, and usually Allah will put it in their heart that they will feel that it's something, it's something else. They will know. They will know. You need to explain to them. And if you have to go into details, if you want to say to them, it's a very shameful, embarrassing dream, whereby you're doing things that you won't tell people about in that dream. Right? Someone, you're doing something, in that dream to do with your private parts, right? That dream makes you embarrassed to speak about it. So all the signs of a wet dream. Okay. You're too embarrassed to tell anybody about this dream. All right. And with a confirmation sign that you woke up and there was wetness between your legs. There's a confirmation sign. Okay, wetness on your underwear, right? From your privates, right? And you feel a tingling feeling, if they can feel it, a tingling feeling that one you might feel, you might not feel, right? Because it might happen while they are still asleep, right? Or they wake up and they're still feeling the tingling feeling, right, in their private parts, right? Because that would be the sensation of the sensation of excretion. Right, it's a sensation from boys and girls, men and women both have sexual highs. Right, so they both will feel sensations. It will be like it will come in bursts. You can explain to them, learn all this stuff. Come, let's learn all this stuff. Okay, like that the sign of money. The sign of money. There's money for men. There's money for women. And money is sexual fluid, sexual excretions. Right. That what are the signs of it? Right. That that they come they come in the right, in Arabic, which is basically you can hear from the word. It comes in spurts. Right? It comes out in spurts. Right. So it's as if your body is spurting, right, something out. So it's not a flow, but these are spurts, all right? And there will be a sensation. You will feel something, all right? So you feel something in your private parts, and sometimes you will feel like a high, right, in your head. It comes to your head as well. Right? Describe what is sexual emissions. Describe to them so they know that it happened, right, from the age of 9. Because don't be complacent. I know of children that it happened to them by the age of 9. In fact, and I know one girl just recently that her discharge came and she was already 9 Hijri. She's not 9, Masihi, Gregorian calendar, already 9 Hijri, right? And she was not aware, and the mother's not aware, right? Because why? The helper washes the underwear, the helper herself is clueless, right? So the girl is clueless, everyone's clueless, right? But the girl has puberty, wahalas. She has reached puberty, right? And if let's say the girl, if you see your child, underwear has brown stains, and you say to your child, how long has these stains been there? How long do you know this discharge? Because it's been more than 24 hours, right? If your child is clueless, so I don't know. Sometimes I see. Sometimes I see. Right? So you know what? Go on the side of playing it safe. Right? It's called ihtiyatan in fiqh. Ihtiyatan. That means go on the side of playing it safe. Take it as menses. All right? Take it as menses. If your child is completely your child is like, I don't know. Is it 24 hours? Don't know. Right? And probably children might do that, right? You say, did this brown thing come out of you more than one day? Don't know. Right? I have to go, don't know. Okay, then do your bath. Right now, not coming anymore, right? Right now, clean, right? You do your bath, you are on menses. You have reached puberty, halas. You have reached puberty. Your prayers are counted. You must cover up properly, right? You can, and then go to the laws with them, go to the rulings with them. The booklet that we produce has an entire last section on modesty, right? So to emphasize modesty on our girls, right? Especially if they're in government school and they're not covering up in school. After school, they need to start covering up. Wajib, wajib. Okay, right. So okay, if you have oil on your hair, right, as long as you wash off the oil, whether you need shampoo or you want to wash off with water, either way, right? Which, however, you can basically the rule again. Go to the classes, okay? Go to the classes. The condition on ghusl is all there. All right, conditions on ghusl is all there. Okay, right. And the conditions of tahara, generally, wudu and ghusl, is that there can be nothing on your body, right, at the beginning of the tahara. That means no substance on your body, no plaster, no oil, no nothing has to be all removed. It's all explained. Tamam. Okay. Right. So just mention this was if your hair is oil, obviously wash it off first. Right, wash it off first. You can't do the ghusl while it is oiled. You need to get rid of the oil first. All right. Now, ya Allah. Everything is by Hijri. There is no Hijri Luna are the same. You all get it. Hijri and Luna are the same. Hijri and Luna are the same. Right? Because what is lunar calendar? What is lunar calendar? It's by the moon. Correct. Luna means by the moon. Right? Not the Chinese calendar, okay? The Chinese, I know they have a way whereby, this is what Chinese here, if you don't know about this. I know they have a way whereby they are a lunar calendar, but not a fully lunar calendar. They are a mix of lunar and solar because they edit their calendar to ensure that Chinese New Year comes in spring every year. Am I not wrong? This was Chinese here. I know Chinese here. Am I not wrong? Right. So I know that the Chinese calendar is not a fully lunar calendar. Because they do something. I know what they do. They do something to ensure that Chinese New Year comes every year in spring. If it's truly a lunar calendar, it will not it will not be fixated on the seasons. Because the seasons, of the world, yeah, in this on this earth, seasons are based on the solar, calendar is based on the movement of the earth around the sun, right? That is how our seasons come about, right? The movement of the earth around the sun, we get our seasons, right? Whereas lunar calendar is based solely on the movement of the moon around the earth, right? So it's not possible, right, for seasons to be aligned, right, with the lunar calendar, the real lunar calendar. So the real lunar calendar is Hijri. Hijri is the real lunar calendar. It's a purely lunar calendar. Lunar meaning what? Moon. Moon, following the moon. All right. Hijri is purely lunar because we see the moon. Halas, you come to next month, Islam in Islam, right? The moon disappears. We've come to the end of the month. The new moon appears. Okay, the next one has happened, right? And that's why our Hijri moves every year by about 10 days, right? And so if your child is about 9 years old, the Hijri should be about 90 days, which means 3 months, 3 months before their solar birthday. It should be about 90 days. Every year, Hijri moves about 10 days, from the solar calendar. That is why we have our Ramadan. That it can happen in any part of the year, right? It moves. Ramadan moves, right? So just 10 years ago, Ramadan was just, I know when I was it was doing my O levels. Ramadan was in November. It was in November. Then it moved up. Now Ramadan it is in March this year, 1st of March. Is in a few years it's gonna go back, right, to being in November again. Right? It moves. The real lunar calendar moves. It's not aligned with the seasons. Right? So the Chinese calendar is not a 100% lunar calendar because the Chinese New Year happens at the same time every year. There's a sign that it's not 100% lunar calendar. I know they will do something to make it to make their New Year happen in spring every year, right? So now, right, the wet dream is basically either they see themselves having intercourse, or like they are doing acts that are sexual in their dream. They're doing sexual acts in their dream. It's called a wet dream. Okay, right. So, and sometimes you don't even remember what it is. Right? Sometimes you don't even remember what it is. Right? So sometimes they might not even know a dream happened, but they woke up and there's fluid in between their legs, and it's not normal fluid. You can even just explain to them the fluid. The fluid is sticky. It is transparent. It can be a bit whitish, right? You feel a sensation when it comes out. Okay, right. And again, if you're not so sure if this is baligh or not, then go on the side of playing it safe, do the bath, and emphasize on them. They need to be serious about their salat. It's never too early to emphasize on children. They need to be serious about their salat. Okay, it's never too early, right? So just take it as puberty. Hala, take it as puberty. All right, meet them to the bath, right? And then even if you're not so sure, it's okay. They can do it. It's called ihtiyatan. Ihtiyatan means play it safe. Right? Playing it safe. Right? So it's possible it could be puberty. Possible. Right? Go and take the bath and your prayers are counted from now on. All right? And if you miss your prayers, dosa. Okay, major sin. If you miss any of your prayers. Tamam. Well, alhamdulillah. Right. So uh yeah, as long as you're unsure, but why are you unsure if it's really clear? If you see white, you shouldn't be unsure. Okay, all of the questions, right? On my course, I went through every one of these questions on the Wikipedia of menses. So please, go to that course. Inshallah, I think this puberty class for guys, for boys, should be done by an ustad. It should be done by a male teacher, right? Not a female like me. Let's speak to my husband about it. Him do it. Right? But it should be done by men. Men should speak to men. Tamam. Right. For me also, I don't know what is a wet dream. I've never had a wet dream in my life. Alhamdulillah. Right. But I know of women who do get wet dreams. Right. And I do ask, my husband, like, what is a wet dream? Because I've never had a wet dream in my life. Alhamdulillah. Prophets don't get wet dreams. Prophets don't get it is mustahil. It's mustahil for prophets to get wet dreams. Because wet dream is a play of shaitan. Is a play of shaitan. Right? And prophets are protected from shaitan. Right. So they don't actually get prophets, they reach puberty by age. They don't get all this, stuff that's going on. Of course, no men say all men, right? But prophets do not get wet dreams. Inshallah. Right. Um, mm, nah, right, do taubat on the matter every single day. And for myself personally, right, I was in secondary school. I would cover up on the way to school. I would cover myself on the way to school. And then at school, of course, take off whatever nowadays very easy. Back then it was a bit harder because you didn't have all this instant stuff. But nowadays just put on a jubah, put on an instant hijab, go to school, enter school, take it off, right? If anybody in school is gonna make an issue out of it, right, write in. Say that in school she's dressed as in her uniform, what? And before leaving the school gate, I would change. I would change and I would leave school. I did it, from the point of puberty. I would do this. I would cover myself up, right? And even like any outside events, whereby they didn't say we have to be our uniform, I would cover up. I always cover up. And if they say they're supposed to be our uniform, they get scolded. I don't care, right? But and then also like racial harmony day. But I know nowadays they're having all these issues, in schools. You don't allow hijab on racial harmony day. Also much for harmony, right? But I know there are schools that don't allow it. They don't allow hijab on National Harmony Day. Such an irony. National Day they don't allow it anymore. My school used to allow it, alhamdulillah. And it's wajib. I took it upon myself as wajib. I must cover up when the school allows us to dress up. I will just cover up. Right? And if they say they're gonna make an issue out of it, then don't go lah. Don't come and stay at home. Right? But I would cover up all the way through secondary school, JC, junior college. I would cover up as I went to school. Right? But at the same time, also, I was thinking to myself, actually, you should just go through poly. Right? Because so many people, if you're a bright student, you're a hardworking student, you can get into university, whether you go through junior college or you go through go through polytechnic, right? And in fact, you can cover up the entire time. And junior college is full of rubbish, lah, please, lah. Junior college has so much sexuality going on there. Right. So for me personally, if I could turn back time, I would, take the path of, going through poly. Right. And you can even map modules over the university and so on. And you can skip a few modules, if you're going through the same routes, right? You can cover up the entire time, going to a polytechnic, Right. So mm, you don't have to wait for 24 hours to beef. The moment you see white, beef. Anyway, go through my course. Okay? Go through my course. Right. So again, the age that we mentioned just now was 8 and 11 months. Even for boys, 8 and 11 months. You're gonna prepare them for 9. The moment they hit 9, if that night itself, the day they hit 9 Hijri, that night itself, they get their wet dream, right? They have reached puberty. They have reached puberty. And if let's say, well, may Allah protect our children, but if let's say that night itself reached puberty, and then the next day they pass away, if let's say that is a situation, someone passes away, that one day is held to account. That one day on the day of judgment held to account. So don't take this things lightly. Okay? Right. So okay, question number my is about Kabir. Kabir. Okay, Mumayyiz, we spoke about Mumayyiz last week, right? But what is the Mumayyiz? Right? The Mumayyiz shall have the age of Tamiz. Tamiz basically means discernment, right? Discernment. A child has understood, right? In a sense, they can function as a small adult. Like you can instruct them on some things, you can do it. They can do it for you. They're not toddlers anymore. They're not kindergarteners. Some kindergarteners are mumayyiz. So tamiz happens anywhere between the age of 5 and 7, right? Depending on the maturity of the child, right? Anywhere between 5 and 7. This happens. Okay. Um. Uh. Uh. And this is called the age of tamis. Okay. The thing they are looking for is kabir. So kabir, the definition of kabir is that this child can be desired in a sense, and not desired by a sick person, but in a sense, the body of this child, can is possible. The child can be sexually desired in a way, like in a sense whereby, for example, a girl, and I think you have seen girls that are 7, 8 years old, and they're very feminine, right? They already have like a shape coming out to them, they have this there's this attractiveness sexually about them, right? That's called kabir. They might not have reached puberty, right? But they have this, their baby fat, their babyness has gone, right? They're no longer like a child baby, like a baby. They've come into their body has formed. The body has formed. Boys have this, right? So like a boy who's very boyish, in his body. He's very boyish. He might not have reached puberty. Like my nephew, for example, my nephew Isa. Right? Isa's very boyish. The way he is very boyish. And the babiness has gone. Right? He's not baligh, but he's kabir. He's kabir. He's a big boy. Right? Okay, this kind of children, right? This kind of children, yes. If you touch them, your wudu is nullified. Your wudu is nullified in the Shafi'i mazhab. Right? So you are not to salam them. And in fact, teach them from this age. In fact, teach your young children from the age of, I would say maximum age of 7. I know some of the scholars they go by from age of 5, actually. But maximum at the age of 7, I will teach the children around me that you don't the boys don't come and salam ustaza. Okay, you can come and give salams. Come and say assalamu alaikum ustaza, how are you? You can say like that. Right? But don't give me your hand. Okay? Because you're big boys. All right. So I'll teach them from primary 1. And from primary 1 max. Okay, from primary 1 max. I would say to them, don't give me your hand, but come and greet me. You can greet me verbally. All right. But don't give me your hand. Okay. Right. So it does satisfy your wudu. Yes. Okay. So when a child is age of 7 is Mumay is learning, these are the signs of age of tamis, right? All the way here. Okay, right? So afwan, right? It's not the entire thing. No, I don't know how to undo it. How do I undo this? So, okay, up till here, toilet unassisted. This is the biggest sign of dummies, and please watch them, right, at the age of 4 and 5, or even younger. Whenever you toilet train them, right, and try and toilet train your children as early as you can, so you don't walk around with najasa. Right? Try and train. In the past, people used to train their kids very early, right? So if you can try and train them on the toilet as early as you can, and I've seen kids at the age of 5 and 6 still on a diaper. At 6, still on the diaper. Next day they're going to primary 1 already, right? So before 5, right? By age of four, I try and train them on, to be toilet trained, right? But watch them. I watch them have a few rounds of watching them istinja to ensure that they're doing the istinja properly. Okay. Fiqh is so important, ya Allah. Fiqh is so important. So many people are ignorant of the laws of fiqh. And so they go through their lives, some essential things. They go through their lives, and they're not doing things correctly, right? So he's ordered to perform prayer and other injunctions pertaining to salah, like wudu and so on. When he's 10 years old, right, you can actually hit the child, but not in a way to harm the child, but to get their attention. Right? So the hitting here is hitting with a siwak, okay, with a twig, right, with siwak, not a cane, not a cane, a siwak. Just like to tap lightly, just tap them lightly, to show the seriousness of the matter. Right? But this is only for a child that has been instructed on the prayers since they were 7. Don't be unfair to your children. That if you have not been serious with them from the age of 7, then now they're 9 or they're 10, you want to be harsh on them. No, Allah gave the Sunnah. Some said at least 3 years, 3 years of training. Right, so you are a negligent parent if you've not been doing it. You are negligent, right? If you've not been, monitoring your child's salat since they were 7, you should be monitoring all of them, not just part. I know I've seen some parenting posts here and there whereby at the age of 7, they begin their children on one salat. No, you're too late. By the age of 7, all five should be in. Okay. By the age of 7, all five should be in. Right. So I would say if you really want to do it in this way, if you can do it earlier, it's better. But if let's say latest is 6.5. 6.5, right? Begin with one prayer. Okay. It means, and what we mean by one prayer is that this one prayer is never missed no matter what. Right. Because it could be that as early as you can, try and emphasize all five prayers as far as you can. Right, but I'm talking about like really the latest case scenario, okay? Latest case scenario, okay? Like make them promise you one prayer. Which prayer will this be? Okay, for example, Maghrib. Usually Maghrib is the easiest one. Right? Usually Maghrib is the easiest one. Okay, Maghrib. All right. Then, after a while, add another one. Right? It means promise never to leave this prayer. All five should be prayed. All right, all five should be prayed. But sometimes they might, forget. They don't, they go and play. They didn't pray. They don't. So in a sense, make them promise you these prayers. All right. So after Maghrib, you can try another one. Let's say, okay, let's do Zohor. After school, straight away, come back, pray Zohor. And they're not in kindergarten anyway. They're not in school. Right? They're not in, like proper school. Right. So Zohor. Then you can go, Asar. Okay. Right. Then Isha and then Subuh. If that is the easiest way, to get them to all five. They must have all five in regularly, daily, by the time they hit 7 years old Hijri. All right. That's called good tarbiyah. All right. And emphasize on the severity of not praying. Emphasize. And of course, if the family is praying in Jama'ah, your children naturally will pray. Okay, because the family prays in Jama'ah. Right? If you're always praying individually by yourselves, then you're not teaching prayer. Right? And do Jama'ah, do Jama'ah. Okay. Um, for girls, as a mother, your daughter can be your ma'mum. Okay, she can be your Jama'ah. For boys, they can't be your ma'mum. Right? For boys past the age of 7, they can't be your makmum. They need to be imam, but high chances you're not so sure about their fatiha, right? And their prayer, whether it's sah or not, because your imam's prayer must be sah, correct? Then that's where the father comes in, or just ensure that he prays, you know, like while you are praying, so that you can't have a jama'ah if he's going to be a makmum. He can't be a makmum to you, right? So you just say, okay, you pray by the side, I pray, by myself. Okay, because until your Fatiha is correct, until your Tahid is correct, until you are serious about your prayer, and I can see that your prayer is good, mashallah, right? Then you can be my imam, because the imam's prayer must be counted. Okay, so if you're still fidgeting around, you're still playing around, playing a fool, I still see on your underwear drops of urine. You're not careful about your about your najis. And then I see your wudu is like la hawla wala quwwata illa billah. You're not praying, you're not doing your wudu properly. You rush through your wudu. Some parts still dry. These kind of things, right? Then I myself know what's up with your prayer, right? So this which shows it goes back to you teaching them properly. Like watch their wudu, look at their istinja, see if their wudu is done well. I've seen so many kids, their wudu is not correct. And they grow up like that. They don't know how to wash the face from the top of the face down to the chin. Right? But they wash just around the eye and the nose area. Then the whole forehead, they're all dry. Right? By the ears, all dry. Right? Inshallah, we're coming through the chapter on wudu, and you're gonna emphasize all these matters right, on our wudu. How many of us as adults probably doing the wrong wudu? La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. It's all fardu ain. Fardu ain. Right? Please teach your children. Allahumma salli wa sallim bari'ani wa ala alih. Naam. So when he just 10 years old, right? So that is two. You can strike them lightly, not more than three strikes, right? And definitely not on the face, right? But more on on the arm, on the leg, where it does not harm the child, right? Salah and other injunctions become wajib. Right? Train them on fasting. All right, train them on fasting. Right, past the age of 7. Right, before the age of 7, because fasting is physically taxing. Right? Unlike prayer. Right? Prayer, anyone, even a small child can copy people praying, right? Fasting is physically taxing. Okay. I've seen some kindergarteners, they are really, really, their body is not fit. Their body is not able to fast. right? Some kindergarteners, right? And our teachers do say, they our teachers do say that if your child has, they call it da'if, I mean, that they're very skinny, they're very skinny, and they need a lot of nutrition to grow, right? So it might be hard on them to fast. Some children, mashallah, they can. They have the ability to fast before the age of 7. Some children they can. But a lot of kids I see around me, they don't have the ability. Right? It's physically taxing on them, physically taxing on them, right? And it's affecting their growth, right? It's affecting their studies, affecting their growth, affecting their day. They can't do it, right? So that one have a bit of have mercy, on them. But 7 and above, right? 7 and above, start to train them on fasting. The body can take fasting. But below 7, for myself personally also, and my family, we don't force them on fasting below 7, right? Because especially my nephews and my nieces, they're very skinny. A lot of them are just very skinny. Right. So if they want to fast below the age of 7, they cannot do anything at all. They're just so wasted the entire day. Like anyone, they don't want to go for class, they can't focus, they can't do their Quran, they're so hungry the entire day, right? Subhanallah. So 7 and up, then you can kind of like focus them on fasting, right? Fasting, is different from prayer. Okay, obviously, right? So, think about pregnancy. This is basically in societies whereby, like in the past, girls would marry young. Okay, that's why there's pregnancy being spoken about. Girls marry young, right? This is not probably not relevant to us in our zaman, of our girls by the age of 9 getting pregnant, right? Because they don't marry very young. Well, alhamdulillah. Okay, let me just see it. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Mm, if you have boys, like a few boys, then get your boys to imam each other. All right, get the boys to imam each other. Um, Uh, you know, yeah, correct. So if you have boys, like they can't be your makmum. If they're above 7 years old, they can't be your makmum. We used to pray, Tarawih, some years ago, in a house, and some of the mothers would bring their boys. And their boys are above 7 years old. So we would actually open up a room and get all the boys to be in that room, right? And then we would, appoint one boy to be the imam, and so the boys imam each other, right? They just pray by themselves in the room. Then they all play, right? They'll pray, but they'll do that tarawih. They'll say they must pray 20 rakats, okay? So make them do that tarawih first, then they'll play lah. But they'll play the tarawih super fast in half an hour. They're done. Astaghfirullahalazim. Right? But in a sense, like we will not allow them to be jama'ah with the woman. Right? If the woman is a woman imam, they can't be jama'ah, right? You can let them pray next to you if you want to, right? But just be very clear, they're not following you. Okay, so what I would say, place them in front, place them in front of you as if they are the imam, but they're not the imam. So he becomes more serious about his prayer. I put him in front of you. So I have kids also that they want to be imam, they want to be imam. Their prayers are up to par, but let them be to encourage them. Right? Okay, they're not real imam. They're pretend imam. Okay, so put them in front of you, right? Say, I'm watching a prayer, okay? Watching you, okay? And you pray your own prayer, right? And you're not following the kid in front of you. You just pray your own prayer, okay? But he will feel like he's the imam, you know? And it gives them sense of responsibility, they rise up to the matter. Well, alhamdulillah. Okay. But I would say, don't put them next to you, put them in front, right? So as to give them a sense of leadership, but don't follow them if their prayer is like you have such doubt in their prayer, right? Don't follow them, right? Just put them in position so that they will feel like an imam. Yeah? So you train them on that. Well, alhamdulillah. Let me just go to this. We have like 6 more minutes. Let me see. What's the questions there? This one. Naam. That's wajah. Allah. You can put several names. Yes. How come I cannot type? It's my internet. It's not strong enough. Okay, halas. With fiqh. So I'm going to go to the fiqh. I will go to the other questions as well, inshallah. Just as we go along. Right, but I want to go right to the fiqh questions. You want the fiqh questions? Mm. Going through all of this. Okay, all of this done. Okay, you must color them. Change the color. Um, is it macro to not do a sunnah act despite knowing it's a sunnah? Okay, there's a difference between macro and sunnah. There is a difference, right? Basically, not doing a sunnah act is complacency, right? It does not reach the level of makruh, right? Some of it does. Some of it does. To not do it. Like, for example, if someone does not drink with their right hand, right? Right hand is sunnah, okay? So if you don't drink with your like right hand, you're using your left hand. And you have two hands, right? Right? So left hand is makruh. Okay, left hand is makruh. So you're not doing the sunnah. The opposite of this particular sunnah is makruh. But not all sunnahs, the opposite is makruh. Not all. All right? Not all. So, for example, if someone does not pray the sunnah, prayer before the wajib, okay, if you don't do the rawatib before, it's not makruh, but you're missing out on reward. You get me? So, not all sunnahs, the opposite or leaving of it is makruh. No, some of it are, some of it are not. Okay. Um, okay, let's do signs of puberty. We're here today, right? So regards siblings to place of sleep, type in English because we do have people following the classes and they're not from Singapore. Okay, I have a group of students from South Africa, right? So and from other parts of the world, but they're not Malay speaking. Okay, which is why I also myself try my best to not have any Malay in my classes. I try my best. If I do speak in Malay, I'll try and translate it into English. And also I have students that are reverts, right? So they're Chinese. And I have a lot of family members. I have my own husband does not speak Malay, and he gets very frustrated whenever anyone in Singapore speaks to him Malay. He's like, not all Muslims are Malays, okay? My sister-in-law is Chinese as well. Does not speak Malay. She speaks Mandarin. My husband speaks Tamil. Right, so be mindful of your Malay, because not everybody understands Malay. So in the place of sleeping, right, and pray and bathing, right, so I know boys and girls with puberty, they might be separated. Not just puberty, by age of 7. By age of 7, bathing, from the beginning, right? It is such a shameful thing to do, to have your kids bathe together naked. I know I've seen parents do it. It's so shameful, even at the age of 3 and 4. So shameful, so shameful. I don't know what they're thinking. No haya at all, no modesty at all, right? Why are you bringing your kids together at that age? Have guard over their modesty, especially if they are of different genders. Okay, if they want to bathe together, then put on them. Okay, first and foremost, same gender, no. What happened? First and foremost, different gender, no. Different gender, no. Just no, no, just no. Okay, don't bring them together at any age. At any age, bathe them separately, right? Because they're of different genders. If they're the same gender, they want to bathe together, have fun. What? Put on the swimsuit. It's kind of swimsuit where you wear it's like a full body kind of thing. Like at a swimming pool, the swimsuit that they have. Put on a swimsuit if they want to bathe together for fun, right? I know of kids that do that, and they want to bathe together, but they're sisters. Yes, sisters or their brothers, right? Don't have them bathing together, and teach them shyness from a very young age. Okay, teach them shyness from a very young age. They should not be showing their privates to anybody from a very young age, as early as you can. Teach them. I'll say by age of 2, start pointing to them. This part nobody can see. Okay, cannot just take off your pants outside the toilet. No, nobody can see. All right, teach them from the age of 2. That not to pull off their pants wherever. You don't do it. All right, you yourself don't do it for them. All right. So bath from the beginning, the separation. All right, and I will even discourage the same gender being together. Like even that's what I feel uncomfortable about, because it does bring down modesty, right? It does ruin modesty. Different gender, definitely. Right? So it's not age of puberty, okay? No, it's way too late. It's way too late. And really guard over your children. Please guard over your children. So bathing, bathing, right, is not to be done together at all. If you want to play with water, have a pool day lah. Right, it's not during the park, have a pool day, then you can play with water, right? But really, don't allow them to bathe together at all. I would say that, to teach them modesty, that when you bathe, and also when they bathe, right, give them like a cloth, right, to cover over waist, to wear on their waist to cover the privates. So they learn to never bathe stark naked. All right, is makruh. This is makruh to bathe stark naked. Right, to actually wear something around your waist, a cloth, uh, a swim. That for the boys, you give them some swimming trunks, right, to wear around their waist. For the girls, you can just get a cloth, and then just put like a rubber, around it, and then they just elastic, right, and then they didn't just wear it. You can use swimsuit material if you want, right? Or old swimsuits, you cut it up, for example, make it like a cloth around them. Okay. With regards to sleeping, right, from the hadith goes from the age of 10. From the age of 10 to separate them in their beds, same gender and different gender. Okay, different gender, separate them in their rooms. All right, different gender by age of 7. Okay, separate them in their rooms. Right. So if the boy is, let's say, 8 years old, the girl is 5, separate, because the boy is 8. Okay, the boy is 8. Not 8, 9, 9, 9, and 9 years old is separate because the boy is 9, and the boy can reach puberty at any, right? So don't be. Our religion has given us so many ways to protect our children. All right, don't take anything for granted. All right, and don't be naive about anything. Girl and girl, right? Girl and girl, they're not supposed to share the same bed, right? Or at least not the same blanket. Okay, it's only something that married couples do, to share the same blanket. Right, so girl and girl, try and get them on different mattresses. Okay, like, or buy a double decker or something, and they have to be separated in their beds. As we mentioned last week, this can cause for a lot of fitna to happen. Right. Right. So, but about girls who are reaching puberty, again, bathing together, no, no, cannot, no, no. It's shameful. Come on, it's shameful. All right, it's shameful. Then do a schedule. I have there are 7 of us siblings. I have 6 siblings. There's 7 of us. We have never bathed together in our life, right, since we were young. And we are 1 year apart. My mother managed us, and really, my mother managed us. And we go to school every morning. Everybody is in the morning session, and everybody goes to school, right? She manages the bathing, very fast. She makes us bathe very quickly, come out, right? Before we go to school. There's 7 of us. And she would manage us, from I think my brother was in secondary school, my oldest brother, and the youngest was from 1981 to 1989, my siblings. Right. Basically 8 years apart, and all in between the 80s, all born in the 80s. Right. So she would manage us. So it's basically you're not having proper management. You're not for having proper management. If you're making them bathe together, I right? It's I. This is shameful, shameful. Okay. And it's not about puberty, no. It's not about puberty. It's as young as it is. All right. You need to have better management. I hope the one who asked this question is here, right? To hear this is serious if you're making your kids behave together. I would say it's a very serious matter. It does it ruins modesty, right? It ruins modesty in a human being. Okay. I've never bathed together with my sister in my life, ever. And we're 1 year apart. I've never bathed together with my sister, ever. Ya Allah. Right? In fact, as far as I know, from the age of 7, even younger than that, right? By as far as I can remember, right? Like I don't show my upper body to anybody. That's how my mother taught us at all, right? So we cover ourselves up, you know. With regards to sleeping, mashallah, I heard so many stories of my relatives who are very poor. Even my in-laws, right? They would live in, there's a 2 bedroom, and one hall. They would place the boys in the hall, right, on mattresses. So they're very poor. So we have no comparison. Okay, these people are very poor. I have had, a grand uncle. He had 10 children, 10 children, 5 boys, 5 girls, and they lived in a small 3 room flat, very small. Back in the day, back in the day, the parents would take one bedroom, the girls would take the other bedroom on mattresses. So in the daytime they will pile up their mattresses, in the nighttime they will lay it out. Right, so individual mattress for every girl. Then the boys would be in the hall, right? And also in the daytime, the mattress would piled up. That's how the poor used to live. We're not that poor. I don't know if you're that poor, right? But that's how they used to live. Like my in-laws, mashallah, my husband would tell me that because they really, really want their kids to, focus on school, that my in-laws would sleep in the hall, right? The parents, the parents to sacrifice for their children. They would sleep in the hall and they would give my husband and his brother one room and then his sisters the other room, like two bedrooms. They would give the children the bedrooms, right? And then they will be in the hall, my in-laws, right? It can be done. All you need is basically three different rooms, you know, one room for the parents and then one for the boys and for the girls. And most houses in Singapore is around at minimum a three-room, flat. Most houses, right? Most houses. And if let's say it's not, right, then the parents can sleep, either with the boys or with the girls. Right, the parents can sleep in the same room as the boys or the same as the girls, but do not mix them. Do not mix them. I know I'm going past time, but I want to answer the questions, very serious questions. Like so, just ensure that And in fact, I know this is this particular great uncle. My mom would tell me the stories because my mother she lost her father very young, not very young, but she was 18 she lost her father. And her uncles came in and looked after her and her siblings. So she would spend nights with her cousins a lot, right? And she would say to me how they would, how her uncles, that she has one particular uncle that would every morning, he trained his five sons, the one with 10 children, right? He trained his five sons to do the adhan, right, for subuh, which means they're all up before subuh, the whole family up before subuh. And every morning, the, they have like a roster of who does the azan, right? So the sons do the azan and the family prays Jama'ah Fajr every single morning, right? And they do their zikr, the Quran. Then they all get ready and they go off to school. All of them with one toilet, right? Some houses in the past they only have one bathroom, one, right? But they have proper tertib and they don't ever bathe together, right? But they bathe one after another, bathe quickly. Don't have to spend so long in the bathroom. Bathe quickly and get out, right? Mm. Allah. Yeah, I need to advise them lah. You need to advise them. It's unfortunate that our people are just very complacent about this matter. It's very unfortunate. You can send them this class if you want to, if you want them to just hear it, right? I think parts of this class I can make it into shorts so that it's easier for people to hear it, right? So it's boy and girl not to be in the same room, right? They go mixed gathering, they mix around, it's ikhtilat, there's no boundaries. Some of them, I've seen girls, each of 9, 10, walking around in the house in shorts. Where is the modesty? Come on, parents, right? So you need to say to them, be gentle, sit them down, say, express your love for them, express your concern for them, and then just say, I'm not doing this to target you, I'm not doing this to run you down, no, but I'm just very concerned. And we learn about these things in class, right? And if you want to hear it, you can pass them the link if you want to, and just speak to them and make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before you speak to them. I wake up in the night, make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to open up their hearts and ask Allah to give you the words to say, right, so that they listen. Tamam, right? Don't underestimate night prayer. Um, now, right, they begin to compare their body parts, right? Singaporeans now, right? So let me just see. Um, this is the one thing that okay, let me just go back up. Okay, so many questions now. We're way past time. Let's see. Um, okay. If daughter's 15, son is 10, daughter's 15, son is 10, they can be home alone together, yes. Right? Inshallah, an older daughter, younger son. If it's the other way around, son 15, daughter 10, right? Just, you know, teach both of them boundaries. Okay? Teach both of them boundaries and tell your daughter, because there are cases in Singapore of not, there was one case I read recently, some time ago, that the daughter, the girl was being raped by her brothers, And the brothers knew that they were all doing it on her. They all knew they were doing it on her. Right? These are terrible cases. Terrible in our Muslim community. Some Muslims, right? And she was going through it from the age of 9, 10, 11, secretly, because the parents never knew and the parents were never around. Right. So really, teach your sons, teach your daughters, warn them, right? And if let's say your girl has to be alone, then put my parents, they used to put locks on our doors. Like all of our bedroom doors has a bar lock. So the door has a key lock, and our door, I remember when I was young, we had a bar lock and also a chain lock on our door, on the bedroom doors, not the front door, bedroom doors. Mashallah, my parents, right? They put these locks into our doors. So when I sleep, my mother would say to me, put on the bar lock. She would say to me, not that she doesn't trust her sons. All of this is to prevent terrible things from happening. All right. She would say to me, put on the bar lock. I put on the chain lock. Right? And I would do it before I went to bed, like from the age of 9. Even early as you can, put on the bar lock to do the chain lock. My grandmother slept with us, so we had our grandmother in with us, right? We had no devices, so no one's watching anything in the room. There's nothing in the room. It's just basically a bed, and our study table, right? So you can't really do anything in the room because there's no devices, you know, right? So and of course you should not have devices in the bedrooms. Okay, this is a very long lesson right now. Can go into so many things. Don't have phones or computers in the bedroom. That's when they're gonna watch nonsense. Allah, yeah, I know some childcare. They just I know some childcares they just strip the children naked, like bare naked, and they just wash the child, completely stark naked in some childcares because it's easier. It's just easier. Right? And they begin to compare their privates. They actually, and the boys and girls look at each other, boys and girls. Like, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Right. Coming out of the toilet in a towel is a big no. Come on, out. We are Muslims. Come on. We're not, non-Muslims do it. Muslims don't do it. But I've seen I used to this situation. I went to the house. The girl was what 14. She walked out of the room of the toilet in just her towel and she went to her room. She's 14. Her brother was right there. And I was shocked. I was like, what in the hell? She just walked out in her toilet in a ba- in a towel. Teach your children to change in the toilet. My mother says we were young, she would always emphasize on us that you do not remove your clothes outside the toilet, in the toilet. Right? In the toilet. Just be very skillful and not make them wet. Right? Just know how to not make them wet. Learn to do that. Right? Not the stepfather, any family member. Your child should not be walking around in a towel. Come on, like 3, okay, or 4. Right? No, not allowed. Come on, please, please. Right? This is where fitna happens. All right. 3 or 4 years old, if the mother's not able to do it, then I mean, there's no choice in doing that. Try and get them just get a cloth to cover their aura. Okay, to cover their aura, the cloth to cover the menses. All right. And may Allah help you. And may Allah assist you, right, in this matter. Right. Right. Naam. Right. Naam. Only remove clothes in the toilet. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Okay, very long lesson today. Alhamdulillah, it's a Sunday. I have school. You all have no. Yeah, for me, it's a school day. Like, but you all have a public holiday. Alhamdulillah. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. I hope you all think about this class, spread the message. A lot of people are ignorant, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect our children. And may Allah teach us. And يفقهنا في الدين. May Allah teach us the religion. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان المصالحات وتوسل بالحق وتوسل بالصبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الفاتحة أن الله يرزقنا من نافع وعملا خاص ويسر بك بنبي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم الرحيم عن مشايخنا وذوي الحق علينا وإلى حضرة النبي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم الفاتحة صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. You can spread these classes on my YouTube. You can give people, but it's a 1 hour 45 minutes class, right? But inshallah, I think you can extract shorts and make them into shorts to make it easier on people. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.